What happens to us after we die? It's a question that has haunted humanity since the dawn of time. We look at the stars and wonder about our place in the universe. We grapple with the meaning of life and the inevitability of death. The unknown beckons, a mystery we long to solve. Is death the end, or is it a doorway to something else? Throughout history, we've sought answers in religion, philosophy, and science. Ancient civilizations imagined elaborate underworlds and glorious heavens. Philosophers debated the nature of the soul and its potential for immortality. Scientists, armed with increasingly sophisticated tools, probed the brain, searching for clues about the nature of consciousness. Despite centuries of exploration, the afterlife remains an enigma, a vast and uncharted territory. Yet the human desire to know persists. We yearn for reassurance, for a glimpse beyond the veil. We crave understanding in the face of the ultimate unknown. Today, we stand on the precipice of new discoveries, armed with groundbreaking research and a renewed thirst for knowledge. Join us as we journey into the heart of this profound mystery and explore the possibility of consciousness after death.
Recent scientific studies offer a tantalizing glimpse into what might await us beyond the veil. Neuroscientists have made a startling discovery. The brain can remain active for several minutes after the heart stops beating. This suggests that our consciousness, the essence of who we are, might linger even after our physical bodies cease to function. Imagine for a moment the implications of this discovery. Could it be that death, as we currently understand it, is not the end but a transition? Could these fleeting moments of post-mortem consciousness be a bridge between this life and the next? The implications are staggering, challenging our long-held beliefs about life, death, and the nature of consciousness itself. These findings open up a Pandora's box of questions. If consciousness persists after death, what form does it take? Does it fade away like a flickering candle? Or does it embark on a new journey? And what does this tell us about the relationship between the mind and the body? Are they inextricably linked, or can consciousness exist independently of its physical shell?
Throughout history, cultures around the globe have grappled with the mystery of death, weaving intricate tapestries of belief to explain the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, believed in a complex underworld ruled by Osiris, god of the dead. They envisioned a perilous journey through this realm, culminating in a final judgment that would determine the fate of the soul. In Eastern religions such as Hinduism and Buddhism, reincarnation is a central tenet. Death is not seen as an end, but as a transition, a rebirth into a new life determined by karma, the law of cause and effect. This cyclical view of life and death offers a comforting continuity, suggesting that our souls are on an eternal journey of growth and evolution. From the ethereal realms of heaven and hell to the concept of a soul's transmigration, these diverse beliefs reflect a universal human need to make sense of death and imagine a realm beyond our earthly existence. While the specific details may vary, the underlying theme remains constant: a belief in something more, a realm where consciousness persists beyond the limitations of our physical bodies.
For centuries, death has been defined as the cessation of heartbeat and brain activity. It was a binary concept. Either the heart was beating and the brain was firing, or it wasn't. Life and death clearly demarcated. But recent scientific studies are challenging this long-held view, suggesting that death might not be an instantaneous event, but rather a process, a gradual shutting down of the complex machinery of the human body. At the forefront of this new understanding are neuroscientists who have been studying what happens in the brain in the moments after the heart stops beating. Their findings are nothing short of astonishing. Using advanced brain imaging techniques, they have observed bursts of electrical activity in the brain minutes after death, activity that mirrors the brainwave patterns of conscious thought. This discovery raises a profound question. Could it be that we retain consciousness, even if for a brief period, after we die? The implications of this research are far-reaching, forcing us to reevaluate our fundamental understanding of death. If consciousness persists even for a short while after the body shuts down, what does this mean for our perception of the afterlife? Does this brief window of awareness allow us to experience death? To comprehend the transition from being to non-being? These are questions that have puzzled philosophers and theologians for millennia. And now, science is beginning to offer some clues.
While the idea of post-mortem consciousness might seem like something out of science fiction, the evidence supporting it is mounting. In a groundbreaking study conducted at the University of Southampton, researchers monitored the brain activity of patients who had experienced cardiac arrest. They found that a significant number of these patients exhibited brainwave patterns associated with conscious awareness for up to several minutes after their hearts had stopped beating. These findings challenge the traditional view that death is an abrupt end to all mental activity. Instead, they suggest that the mind may engage in a final, fleeting burst of activity, a last stand against the encroaching darkness. What exactly happens during this period of post-mortem consciousness remains a mystery. Some researchers speculate that the brain, starved of oxygen, might release a surge of chemicals that trigger hallucinations or dreamlike states. Others believe that this final burst of brain activity might reflect the soul's attempt to detach itself from the physical body, a last desperate struggle to break free from its mortal confines. Whatever the explanation, one thing is clear: the mind, even in its final moments, is capable of surprising resilience and perhaps even a final act of defiance against the inevitability of death. The discovery of post-mortem consciousness opens up a Pandora's box of questions about the nature of death, the mind-body connection, and the possibility of an afterlife. If consciousness can persist even for a short time after the body shuts down, does this suggest that consciousness is not entirely dependent on the physical brain? Could it be that our minds, like energy, cannot be destroyed but merely transform, transitioning to a different state of being after death? These questions are at the heart of the burgeoning field of near-death studies, where researchers are meticulously analyzing the experiences of those who have come close to death and returned to tell the tale. While the scientific community continues to grapple with the implications of post-mortem consciousness, the potential impact of this discovery on our understanding of death and the afterlife is undeniable. It challenges us to reconsider long-held beliefs, to explore new possibilities, and to approach the mystery of death with a sense of wonder and open-mindedness. The journey into the afterlife, once the sole domain of religion and spirituality, is now being illuminated by the light of scientific inquiry, offering a tantalizing glimpse into what might lie beyond the veil of death.
The quest to understand what happens after we die is as old as humanity itself. Long before the advent of modern science, our ancestors grappled with this profound mystery, seeking answers in the stars, the spirits of nature, and the depths of their own imaginations. From the pyramids of Egypt to the ancient burial mounds of Europe and Asia, evidence of their beliefs in an afterlife abounds, etched in stone, whispered in myths, and passed down through generations. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, developed an elaborate belief system centered around the afterlife. They believed that death was not the end, but a transition to a spiritual realm known as the Duat. In this underworld ruled by Osiris, god of the dead, the deceased would embark on a perilous journey, facing trials and tribulations before ultimately facing judgment. Their hearts, weighed against the feather of truth, would determine their fate, eternal life in the field of reeds or oblivion. This belief in an afterlife, so central to Egyptian culture, is evident in their elaborate burial rituals and the construction of monumental tombs filled with provisions for the deceased's journey. The pyramids, those enduring symbols of ancient Egypt, were not merely tombs, but gateways to the afterlife, designed to help the pharaohs ascend to the heavens and join the gods. These ancient beliefs, though vastly different from our modern understanding, speak to a universal human need to find meaning in death and imagine a realm beyond our earthly existence. While the Egyptians envisioned a linear journey to the afterlife, many Eastern religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, embraced the concept of reincarnation, a cyclical view of life, death, and rebirth. In these traditions, death is not the end but a transition, a shedding of the physical body as the soul embarks on a new journey in a different form. This cycle of death and rebirth, driven by karma, the law of cause and effect, continues until the soul achieves liberation, transcending the cycle of suffering and attaining enlightenment. Hinduism, with its ancient roots in the Indian subcontinent, offers a complex and nuanced understanding of reincarnation. The soul, or Atman, is believed to be eternal and unchanging, reborn into countless lives, each one a learning experience shaped by past actions. The ultimate goal is to break free from the cycle of samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and achieve moksha, liberation from the cycle of suffering. Buddhism, which emerged from Hinduism in the 6th century BCE, shares a similar belief in reincarnation but emphasizes the impermanence of all things, including the self. Life is seen as a continuous flow of becoming, and death is merely a transition to a new existence. The quality of this new life is determined by karma, the accumulated effects of one's actions. Through meditation, mindfulness, and ethical conduct, Buddhists strive to purify their karma and attain enlightenment, ultimately escaping the cycle of suffering and achieving nirvana.
From the ancient Greeks who envisioned the Elysian Fields, a paradise reserved for heroes and the virtuous, to the Norse mythology of Valhalla, a majestic hall where warriors feast for eternity, cultures across the globe have woven intricate tapestries of belief to explain the afterlife and the fate of the soul. These beliefs, often intertwined with religion, mythology, and folklore, reflect a deep-seated human desire for continuity, for a sense that our lives have meaning and purpose beyond the fleeting realm of earthly existence. The concept of the soul, an ethereal essence that survives the death of the physical body, is a recurring theme in many belief systems. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato and Socrates debated the nature of the soul, with Plato arguing that the soul is immortal and separate from the body, while Socrates, though less certain about the afterlife, emphasized the importance of living a virtuous life. These philosophical inquiries laid the groundwork for Western philosophical and religious thought, influencing early Christian beliefs about the soul and its potential for eternal life. Christianity, emerging from Jewish roots, adopted and adapted these earlier concepts, developing a belief system centered around the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the promise of eternal life for believers. Heaven and hell, often depicted as realms of eternal reward or punishment, became central to Christian teachings, shaping Western views on the afterlife for centuries. These diverse beliefs, though varying in their specifics, all speak to a fundamental human longing to transcend the limitations of our mortal existence and find meaning and purpose in a realm beyond the grave.
Near-death experiences, NDEs, have captivated the human imagination for centuries, offering tantalizing glimpses into what might lie beyond the veil of death. These profound and often life-altering experiences, reported by individuals who have come close to death and returned, paint a vivid and often consistent picture of a realm beyond our everyday perception, a realm where consciousness seems to transcend the limitations of the physical body. Imagine, if you will, floating above your own body, observing the scene unfolding below as if detached from your physical form. This out-of-body experience, a common theme in NDE accounts, is often accompanied by a sense of peace and serenity, a feeling of being surrounded by a loving and ethereal presence. Some individuals report traveling through a dark tunnel towards a brilliant light, often described as warm, inviting, and filled with unconditional love. Others describe encounters with deceased loved ones, beings of light, or even a panoramic life review, where their past actions and choices are replayed before their eyes. These experiences, often imbued with a sense of profound meaning and purpose, can have a transformative impact on individuals, leading to a diminished fear of death, an increased appreciation for life, and a deepening spirituality.
While skeptics often attribute NDEs to physiological changes in the brain during times of extreme stress, the consistency and universality of these experiences across cultures and demographics have led some researchers to explore alternative explanations. Could it be that consciousness, rather than being solely a product of the brain, is capable of existing independently of the physical body? Some scientists propose that NDEs might be explained by quantum mechanics, a branch of physics that delves into the strange and counterintuitive behavior of matter and energy at the subatomic level. Quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where two particles become linked, even at vast distances, suggests that information might be exchanged instantaneously, defying the limitations of space and time. Could it be that consciousness, like these entangled particles, is not bound by the physical constraints of the brain, but exists as part of a larger, interconnected reality? This intriguing possibility challenges our traditional understanding of the mind-body connection, suggesting that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, much like gravity or electromagnetism. If so, NDEs could be glimpses into this deeper reality, a realm where consciousness is no longer confined to the physical body, but can explore the universe freely.
One of the most compelling aspects of NDEs is their remarkable consistency across cultures and time periods. From the ancient Greeks, who described journeys to the underworld, to modern accounts of encounters with beings of light, the core elements of these experiences remain strikingly similar, suggesting a universal human experience, a glimpse into a realm that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. Whether it's the feeling of peace and serenity, the presence of a loving light, or the encounters with deceased loved ones, these shared elements point to a common thread in the human experience of death, a thread that suggests the possibility of a shared afterlife, a realm where consciousness persists beyond the limitations of our earthly existence. While the scientific community continues to debate the nature and significance of NDEs, these profound experiences offer a powerful testament to the enduring human quest to understand death and the possibility of life beyond the grave. They challenge us to expand our understanding of consciousness, to explore new frontiers of scientific inquiry, and to approach the mystery of death with a sense of wonder and open-mindedness, recognizing that what we perceive as the end might be just the beginning of a much grander journey.
Consciousness, the subjective experience of being aware of oneself and the world around us, remains one of the greatest mysteries of science. How does the intricate network of neurons in our brains give rise to our thoughts, emotions, and sense of self? It's a question that has puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries, and despite remarkable advances in neuroscience, a definitive answer remains elusive. Traditionally, consciousness has been viewed as a product of the brain, an emergent property that arises from the complex interplay of electrical and chemical signals between neurons. This materialist view, dominant in the scientific community, suggests that once the brain ceases to function, consciousness simply dissolves like a flame extinguished. However, the discovery of post-mortem consciousness and the compelling accounts of near-death experiences have led some scientists to explore alternative theories. Theories that challenge the materialist paradigm and propose that consciousness might be more fundamental than we currently understand. Could it be that consciousness, rather than being solely a product of the brain, is a fundamental property of the universe, much like gravity or electromagnetism? This intriguing possibility, though still on the fringes of mainstream science, is gaining traction as researchers grapple with the limitations of current scientific models to fully explain the mysteries of the mind.
Quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that describes the bizarre and counterintuitive behavior of matter and energy at the subatomic level, has captured the imagination of those seeking to understand the nature of consciousness. Unlike classical physics, which governs the macroscopic world we experience, quantum mechanics reveals a realm where particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, where information can be exchanged instantaneously over vast distances, and where the act of observation seems to influence the outcome of events. Could these strange quantum effects play a role in consciousness? Some scientists, like Roger Penrose, a renowned physicist and mathematician, believe they might. Penrose, along with Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist and consciousness researcher, proposed a controversial theory known as orchestrated objective reduction, OR, which suggests that consciousness arises from quantum computations occurring within microtubules, tiny structures found within neurons. According to OR, these quantum computations are responsible for the unity and coherence of our conscious experience, and when the brain dies, this quantum information, rather than being destroyed, might be released into the universe, perhaps even contributing to a universal consciousness. While OR remains highly speculative and faces criticism from both physicists and neuroscientists, it highlights the growing interest in exploring the potential intersection of quantum mechanics and consciousness.
The quest to understand consciousness and its relationship to the brain is fraught with challenges. We are attempting to bridge the gap between the objective, measurable world of physics and the subjective, experiential realm of the mind. Neuroscience, with its sophisticated brain imaging techniques and meticulous mapping of neural pathways, provides invaluable insights into the biological correlates of consciousness, but it has yet to fully explain how the firing of neurons gives rise to the subjective experience of being. Perhaps the answer lies in a paradigm shift, a new way of looking at the relationship between mind and matter. Instead of viewing consciousness as solely a product of the brain, could it be that consciousness is fundamental to the fabric of reality itself, and the brain, rather than generating consciousness, acts as a receiver or filter, tuning into this universal field of awareness? This concept, reminiscent of ancient Eastern philosophies that view consciousness as the ground of all being, challenges us to expand our scientific frameworks and consider the possibility that we are part of a much grander interconnected reality than we currently perceive. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of the brain and the universe, we might find that the answers to life's most profound questions lie not in separating the mind from matter, but in recognizing their fundamental interconnectedness.
The question of what happens to our consciousness after death is inextricably linked to the age-old philosophical conundrum of the mind-body problem. For centuries, philosophers have debated the nature of consciousness and its relationship to the physical body. Is the mind merely a product of the brain, a complex symphony of neurons firing, or is it something more, an ethereal entity that can exist independently of its physical shell? Dualism, a philosophical perspective championed by René Descartes, posits that the mind and body are distinct entities, with the mind or soul being immaterial and immortal, while the body is material and subject to decay. This view aligns with many religious beliefs, offering comfort in the face of mortality by suggesting that our essence, our true selves, transcend the physical limitations of this earthly existence. However, dualism faces challenges in explaining how an immaterial mind can interact with a material body. How can thoughts and desires, if they exist in a realm beyond the physical, influence our actions and behaviors in the material world? This interaction problem has led many philosophers and scientists to embrace materialism, the view that everything in the universe, including consciousness, is ultimately reducible to matter and energy. Materialism offers a simpler, more parsimonious explanation, but it struggles to account for the subjective, qualitative nature of our inner experiences. Beliefs about the afterlife, whether rooted in religious faith, philosophical inquiry, or personal experiences, have profound ethical implications, shaping our values, influencing our actions, and providing a framework for understanding our place in the cosmos. For many, the belief in an afterlife offers solace and hope, providing a sense of justice and accountability in a world where suffering and injustice often seem to prevail. The prospect of reuniting with loved ones, of facing judgment for our deeds, or of continuing our journey in a different realm can provide a powerful incentive for ethical behavior and a source of comfort in the face of life's inevitable challenges. However, afterlife beliefs can also be used to justify violence, discrimination, and social control. Throughout history, religious beliefs have been invoked to wage wars, persecute minorities, and maintain oppressive social hierarchies. The promise of heavenly rewards or the threat of eternal damnation can be powerful tools for manipulation and control, leading to intolerance, fanaticism, and a disregard for the sanctity of human life. The ethical implications of afterlife beliefs highlight the importance of critical thinking, compassion, and respect for diverse perspectives. While it's essential to acknowledge the profound influence of these beliefs on human behavior, it's equally crucial to guard against dogmatism, intolerance, and the use of such beliefs to justify harm or oppression. Ultimately, our ethical compass should be guided by a commitment to human dignity, compassion, and the pursuit of a just and equitable society for all, regardless of our beliefs about what lies beyond the veil of death.
The question of what happens after we die has traditionally been relegated to the realm of faith and religion, a matter of personal belief rather than scientific inquiry. However, the emergence of near-death studies, the discovery of post-mortem consciousness, and the exploration of quantum consciousness are blurring the lines between faith and reason, prompting some to question whether science can ultimately provide answers to questions once considered the sole domain of religion and philosophy. Some argue that science, with its emphasis on empirical evidence, objective observation, and testable hypotheses, is ill-equipped to address the subjective, experiential nature of consciousness and the possibility of an afterlife. The tools of science, they contend, are designed to study the material world, not the ethereal realms of the soul or the mysteries of life beyond death. Others, however, believe that science, with its ever-expanding frontiers of knowledge, might eventually unlock the secrets of consciousness and shed light on the possibility of an afterlife. They point to the remarkable advances in neuroscience, quantum physics, and cosmology as evidence of science's ability to unravel the universe's most profound mysteries. Whether science can ultimately provide definitive answers to questions about the afterlife remains to be seen. However, the pursuit of these answers, guided by both scientific rigor and an open mind, has the potential to deepen our understanding of consciousness, death, and our place in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. The human quest to understand what lies beyond the veil of death is a journey without a final destination. It's a journey fueled by curiosity, driven by the longing to make sense of our own mortality, and shaped by a tapestry of beliefs woven from science, spirituality, and personal experience. From the ancient myths that painted vivid pictures of underworlds and heavens, to the latest scientific inquiries into the nature of consciousness, we have sought answers, seeking solace, meaning, and perhaps even a glimpse of what awaits us beyond this earthly existence. Throughout this exploration, we've encountered tantalizing clues, hints that death might not be the end but a transition, a passage to a realm beyond our current comprehension. We've delved into the shocking studies that suggest a period of post-mortem consciousness, a brief window of awareness after the heart stops beating. We've explored the rich history of afterlife beliefs, marveling at the diverse ways cultures across the globe have grappled with the mystery of death and imagined the realms beyond. We've journeyed into the enigmatic realm of near-death experiences, listening to the awe-inspiring accounts of those who have brushed against the veil of death and returned with stories of light, love, and profound transformation. We've grappled with the mind-boggling implications of quantum consciousness, contemplating the possibility that our minds are interconnected, part of a universal web of awareness that transcends the limitations of space and time. While the quest for answers continues, one thing remains clear: the mystery of consciousness after death endures. Despite remarkable advances in science, philosophy, and our understanding of the human mind, the ultimate fate of our consciousness remains an enigma, a question that continues to challenge our assumptions, push the boundaries of our knowledge, and inspire awe and wonder. Perhaps the true value of this quest lies not in finding definitive answers, but in the journey itself. The very act of seeking, of questioning, of exploring the unknown expands our horizons, deepens our appreciation for the preciousness of life, and connects us to something larger than ourselves. It reminds us that we are part of a grand cosmic mystery, a mystery that unfolds with each passing generation, each new discovery, each moment of awe and wonder. As we stand at the precipice of the unknown, gazing into the abyss of death, we are reminded of the profound words of the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, who said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So too, perhaps, the unexamined death, the unquestioned afterlife, is a missed opportunity for growth, for wonder, for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The journey continues, and while the destination remains shrouded in mystery, the pursuit of knowledge, the embrace of wonder, and the courage to ask the big questions will continue to illuminate the path.